Welcome to Witches of Workshop, a writing community podcast. I'm Lauren.
I'm Caroline, and this is where we brew better stories together. So if you want to be critiqued on the podcast, just send 1 to 10 pages and a synopsis to witchesofworkshop@gmail.com. Without further ado, let's get started.
We're in Maine, and we're here with... Rebecca wasn't here. Seifert. Yeah.
Okay.
See? Okay.
You're right. I spiraled about whether it was Seifert or Seifert.
Oh, yeah.
Because I realized
Seifert.
I don't hear you say it aloud that much.
Yeah,
so
it breaks
earlier,
the rule because there's no I before E. It's EI, which is
it's
weird. It's a
Seifert.
weird name. But a little lore. Seifert is German and Seife means soap. And my grandparents actually owned a laundromat. So we always say like it's in the family. It's in the family name. So there you go. There's your German word for the day.
Squeaky clean Rebecca Seifert is here.
She's here, and she is the director, Heyo, of the 2026 DFW Con and a rom-com writer. She's been an active member of the DFW Writers Workshop for 4 years and has been published in both Harness and Points and Case magazine. At DFW Con 2025, she co-taught the course Writing Rom-Coms. That's
this lady right there.
Hey! Okay,
Yep.
right there. And one thing I think of when I think Becca, as we call you and everyone you know and love calls you, is that you are probably Emily Henry's biggest fan. And that shows through in your writing. Becca is well known in our writing community for writing the best banter, putting her characters in delightfully uncomfortable situations.
Well, thank you.
She does live in Denton, Texas with her husband and beautiful Malamute Husky mix,
Yes.
not to be confused with Malamu, as I
okay.
thought. Give it up for Becca Seifert!
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Happy to be here.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Okay, we're going to get into it. So we have some questions for you.
Nervous.
And okay, and we're gonna start with this one. It's so fun. So we're on our writers retreat, and at our last writers retreat, we learned a little bit of lore about you. And you have quite the creative lore. From having been the lead singer of a band to writing for humor magazines. So tell us more about your creative writing journey and when you knew you wanted to be an author.
I think like most authors, I always loved reading books when I was a kid, but I would say probably what kicked off my like interest in pursuing it, like actually finishing the book and getting published, I was a COVID creative. I know there was like a couple people that kind of like rediscovered stuff. So it was always like just fun for me. Even as I was going through college, doing other things, I would just randomly like sit down to write short stories or like do these certain things. And when COVID hit, I just had all of this like free time. So I rediscovered this like story I'd kind of been messing with in college. And I was like, I think I really want to do this. And so I started looking stuff up online. I started like reading how authors got published, listening to their podcasts or like messages about how they did it. And then I started discovering the workshop and stuff and just kind of got serious about it.
So some of those things that you looked up, is there any person, like one thing or person that like really inspired you to like jump on that?
So before I became Emily Henry's biggest fan, I was Kristen Hanna's favorite fan, as you all know, because I was always like, well, Kristen Hanna says. And I was obsessed with looking up her YouTube videos. And I remember when she's very open about her journey, as I think most authors are, but she basically said that she wrote her first book in a vacuum. And she's like, I got no critiques. I sent it off and I was just like, I'm going to wait for all the acceptances and get published. And she's like, and I got crickets. And she's like, oh, maybe I'm doing this wrong. And I was thankful because I'd only written about half my book at that point. And I was like, okay, gonna learn from her because I love her. And so then I started Googling and that's how I found the workshop and just kind of learned from her. And that's really got me going.
Okay, and when you joined the workshop, from what I remember, well, of course I remember because we joined at the same time and we did our first
actually
reads.
our first reads were the same day.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I feel like your writing has evolved quite a bit. Even in terms of what you like to write, because you started off writing a very serious romance, which I think you have talent with that as well. But then you've switched more recently-ish into rom-coms. So talk about that. Talk about other ways that workshop changed your writing.
Oh man, in so many ways. I think it's a very common thing for new writers to want to write a serious book because they want to be I don't know. I don't know why that's so common for writers, but I feel like most writers start off wanting the series, but
Because you
profound
want to
maybe
be a
or
you want to be a writer, an
yeah, there's
artist.
something about
Yeah,
it.
there's a pretentiousness that you're
Yeah.
worried. I think genre gets just the worst, that it's
Yeah.
like dumb books, and it's just like,
Yeah.
no.
No, we
Yeah.
want to be taken seriously because we take our writing seriously.
Yeah, and so I was one of those. I think there's probably a lot of people that relate to me, and I was reading a lot of Kristen Hanna, which is very, like, intense,
Oh.
deep, emotional books, and so I was loving that, and I wanted to emulate that, and I actually started thinking I was gonna do women's fiction, not even romance at all, but then I started to, like, discover and, like, listen to feedback and stuff, and actually, this one Caroline suggested I read Emily Henry, and I didn't grow up reading romance, and kind of one of the things I love about Emily Henry is that before she wrote them, she didn't grow up reading them. And so I feel like she wrote them from like a different perspective than people who maybe grew up reading that subject would.
Mm,
And I just fell in love with it. I was like, there's an emotional depth there. Like people think that it's all just fun and lighthearted, but she just has the ability to have the emotional depth that I love from Kristen Hanna in fun, unique ways
mm.
with these characters in like typically beautiful locations. And like all those things combined were like, I'm just obsessed with this.
Now, you are also famously obsessed with one Nora Ephron and Nancy Meyers.
Yeah.
Was that a long time love that you then realized, like, fit into this little
Yeah.
world perfectly? So that, like,
Yeah.
came long before the
Oh
writing
my
even?
gosh. So my first job, I worked at a library. I was 15 years old and I was what they call a page. And so you return all the books to the shelves. And I would push this cart and as I would return books, if I liked it, I would have my stack. And that's what I would read during my breaks or like take home with me. And I discovered Nora Ephron. She wrote this book called I Feel Bad About My Neck. And it was a book about her like talking about aging. And I remember at 15 years old, she's talking about the wrinkles on her neck. And I'm like, this is what it means to be a woman. And I was like and from that moment on
The wrinkles on your neck.
but from there,
Childhood.
she is so right. And this is another part about, like, how all of her movies, there's, like, this authenticity about people in the stories that just hooks you. And so, like, I didn't know it at the time, but, like, yes, that was, like, deep planted in me, and then I kinda rediscovered it, I guess.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
And I would absolutely say, like, Emily Henry is a modern Nora Ephron. You know what I mean?
mhm. Well,
Yeah.
and I wanted you to read her because once I started reading Happy Place, I was like, "Oh, this writing style is very Becca, like the way that you
Oh
write."
gosh, get
Like
me in the heart.
it is though. It is. So
Uh,
you pivoted. You're now working on your second rom-com,
I
right?
am, yep.
Okay. So, like, how did your writing evolve and grow when you kind of dropped this whole like I must be serious to writing something you really like? Because it obviously has grown and shifted and changed.
Mhm.
Like, what are things you've learned?
I think, Alex Martinez, who was on your podcast before, so smart. He dropped so many wisdom gems. But I remember when I started reading the rom-com that I wrote previously, and it was so different than what I'd written before. I read it in a room with him, and he's like, "I'm having an epiphany,"
Yeah.
and we were in the same room. And he was like, "I think with your first one, you're so worried about being taken seriously, and you're learning so much that you're almost try-harding." And he didn't say that. I'm not going to put words, but he said, "I think when you write a second book, you trust yourself more. And
Mm,
because you've learned stuff, you allow yourself to kind of loosen up." And so I think for me, the rom-com part of it was like loosening up and allowing myself to be funny and goofy and like maybe a little bit unhinged and creative. And that just kind of like flowed better in
mm,
storytelling than like trying so hard to be profound or prolific or something like that. And I think there's this journey of finding what writer you are. There's the writer you think you're going to be, and then there's the writer you are. And some people match up, some people always know, and some people have to discover it. And I had to discover it. And I remember
Mhm.
asking people, I was like, "Did you always know you wanted to do fantasy? Did you always know?" And some people were like, "Yeah," and some people were like, "No, I figured that out." So
Mhm.
and
yeah.
one thing I'll say about Becca is Becca, you only know a few because it's a rare thing. But Becca is one of the few people I have ever met in my life who says they want to learn something or says they want to
Mm,
do something and makes it happen.
Mhm.
So,
my mom would say the same thing. Yeah.
it's like the
Yeah.
determination too. Like Becca, like you motivate the people around you. Do you think joining the workshop honed that, like, I feel like that's who you are anyways,
Yeah.
but with your writing, do you feel like there without the workshop, something would be missing? Like, what do you think the workshop has done? Because I feel like there's a part of you that could have done this without it, because you are determined to do it and you're determined to learn. But what do you think the edge of workshop gave you that is like irreplaceable?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it is true. I'm a determined person, but I do honestly think if I hadn't found workshop, I would have given up.
Why?
Because I'm determined, but I also will cut my losses when things aren't working. And I think the gem of what a writing community in a workshop does is normalizes the process. But when you work in like a vacuum and you receive all this rejection, it's very easy to think that you're just not made to do it. But when you're in a community and you share that with people and they're like, "No, that's normal. That's all part of the process. That's normal. That's normal." Like, that is what keeps me going. And just having people around me that are way better than me, like, they've already been published. They're very successful, but they're still experiencing similar things that I am. It normalizes the whole thing of it. And I think if I was by myself, I either would have been like Kristen Hanna, where like I made it that far, and then when it didn't work, I was like, well, now I need to do it different. Or I would have been like, I tried that, didn't work, moving on, and just would have been like, not for me. Yeah. But I think
Yes.
for me, it's so interesting because people are very successful doing it on their own. I need a community, and I know that.
Yeah.
Speaking of workshop, this is something we love to talk about with our workshop guests on the
Yeah.
podcast. Tell us about your best and worst reads
Yeah.
and what those taught you. We've all got them.
Well, we'll do 'em chronologically, so I'll tell you about my worst first.
Perfect.
Bring it.
Because we all get the bad before we get the good. So the worst one was the first year that I went, I didn't know very many people. And so when I would read in the room, my voice would be shaky. I'd be very nervous. And then because I was a newbie, like people who just done this longer were giving me very good critiques, but it's a lot. You get piled on because there's so much you have to learn. So I'd be very nervous. Well, the worst night was, um, it's when you get critiques, it's nice when people agree because you're at least like they have a central thing that isn't working, so you know how to work on it.
Right.
This particular night, there was probably like 8 people in the room, and every single person had something different that wasn't working for them. And so you're taking notes, and like as you're listening, you're just like, so is anything working? And then after the critique, we're on break. I'm getting ready to leave. And this girl leans over and she goes, "Oh, and by the way, that also didn't work for me." I was like,
Girl.
I'm like, well, I guess I'm using my break to go cry in the car. Thank you very much. And it was something different than everything else that people had said. And so you're just like, well, nothing's working. But I think the resilience of it was like, okay, I need to get smart. Like, you need to get smart.
Well, that's the difference between
Yeah.
you and a lot of people, because a lot of people get that and they're like, especially their
Yeah.
first year in, we're like, well, I'm just not cut out for this, or like, I'm not going to get better. But you've got a thick skin.
I think it made me like, it kind of makes you angry. Like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to like,
Ooh,
I'm gonna figure
yeah.
this out.
Determination.
Yeah,
Determined, Becca.
determination. Yeah. And so then the best one was, it's kind of like your triumph. Like, there was a read that I brought in, and it was my first one with the new rom-com. And I remember going in with a lot of people that I truly trusted and like revered as like really great writers, and they are really great writers. And I read it, and everybody was really quiet for a second. And then one of the writer, they had one clarifying question, and when I answered it, they go, "Well, then this works." And I was like, "What?" And all these people had like nothing but good things to say. And so I went from like everything was wrong to like everyone being like, I'm good. No notes. And I was like, I did it. One time. Can I do it again?
Yes, and you did.
I always compare the read rooms to like the pods in Love is Blind. Like if you haven't experienced it, you can't compare it to anything else. And so it's like this crazy vacuum of a thing that you do, and it's just wild.
Okay. I have a question for you. So you're well known for being an idea lady.
Oh.
Becca has ideas on ideas on ideas on ideas. Like, and literally from the first time I met you, it's this great thing. She'll go, I have this idea. What if? And then she busts out 2 or 3, like, and you're like, what? Like, how? And it's so many times, I can't even imagine how many people are like, oh yeah, Becca told me this, and it changed this.
I love that. That's cute.
But because it's not just for your work though, it's for literally for everybody. Like it's if you bring it to the critique, which I think is hard to do. I don't do this well in critique. I can tell you what's wrong with it, but the fixing and the giving you alternates, I have a very hard time with that. So you do it well, but where do you think those like how is that just something because of consuming media? Is that something just because that's always how your brain works? Like, does it just fire it off? Like, how do you come up with all of that? Real talk.
For real.
For real.
I think it was a bit of like admiring people at workshop that did that because like not only are you learning to write, but you're learning how to critique other people. So it started with when other people were giving critiques and not just saying what was wrong, but offering how to fix it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I want to be that kind of person. But then the other part is like I'm obsessed with story structure. I'm obsessed. So like I would study story structure and then as I watch movies or listen to stories or like do all these things, I'm like constantly like if I'm watching a movie, I'm like, that's the dark night of the soul. This is the fun and games part. This is like the midpoint. This is it. So I feel like I bank all of those as I'm watching them. And a lot of it's like, oh, as I'm listening to a story, I'm like, this is kind of like that. So what if they did something similar but different? And I think I'm just kind of like comparing. So I think it's maybe just being obsessed and like and then just consuming, but like just being obsessed. Like I'm a researcher and I love to like dissect things. And I think that's probably where that started. Yeah.
So on that note, which is not a question I had written down, but as someone who's obsessed with structure, like what tools, books, craft ideas, authors helped you learn structure and plot and all that?
My favorites, Save the Cat, which I know everyone loves, Story Genius, I like the 3 story structure. I actually had kind of a psycho Excel sheet where I put all 3 of them next to each other to see what was similar and different to them. And so I would like line everything up and I'd be like, well, those kind of match up. So I could just do that because they kind of work. And then just asking people like in conversation, like again, I'm just obsessed. So I just want to like talk to people about what they do. And then I'm just like, well, I can use that, but I'm going to leave the rest of it or whatever. So kind of like the Frankenstein of like story structure because I'm just so curious about it.
So, but how does that like inform your process? Like, how does that invigorate you? Does that feel stifling?
My pantser heart is just like,
and like I see how it does work for you, absolutely. So I'm like, tell me how like that helps you rather than like hinder you.
Yeah, or gives you anxiety about like, do you truly just see it? But or
you just love that process.
But it also sounds like you're willing to say at a certain point, like, okay, this is how this works. I'm also choosing, like, so you have a discernment about it too, which is, I think, I guess, where the creative mind comes to any kind of structure based thing. Like, right? Like, if you just do the structure the same, like, there's got to be little deviations and whatever as far as like the content or the exterior, I guess. But yeah.
So like how does it
help? Like okay, so when you start a new project, tell us like are you starting with the plot and like what decisions are you making? Like just how do you approach your stories with all this like with your obsession with structure?
Oh yeah. I think Katie Burnett told me this. I think in previous drafts, what's gotten me stuck is over plotting because you kind of pigeonhole yourself. And so I'm trying it this round where I kind of do high level plot points from the Save the Cat story structure, but I allow myself to discover the story a little bit. And I think when you look at all of this different story structures, like I said, some things are matching up. So it's like they're saying it in a different way, but they're saying the same things. And so when you see that, then it's like, okay, if they're saying the same things, then how am I going to twist that and make it my same? But as far as like ideas, I don't start with like the plot. I typically will start with the nugget of an idea and then I let that simmer. And I love to do what I call dream walks where I'll create a playlist and I'll go take my dog, my Malamute, for a walk. And I just like think about the characters and kind of dream about them. And I love like movie soundtracks and movie scores. So I kind of just will like be in a dream state about that. And then if I get like an idea, then I'll just write it down and see how that would flush into like the story structure.
Is it true to say you start with the premise, like what if
before
blank?
The character? Yeah. Yep. I do for sure. And I know that's different because I think you're more character
Which,
driven, which
yeah.
is inspiring because I wish I was character driven.
No, and I'm trying to do what you're doing. So it just goes to show that different things work for different
Yeah.
writers. Like we all have different
But
brains.
they also have their own challenges.
But then
Yes,
also
they
when
do.
you have
Yeah.
when you get the mix together, you're
Yeah.
able to see like okay, well, my weakness is this, but I have a
Yeah.
friend whose strength is this. So when they read my book, they're able
Yes.
to say,
Yep.
"Hey, girl, you haven't mentioned setting
Yep.
ever."
You guys are like the voice and vibe check queens. Like you guys are all you're one of my favorite that you guys always do is like something about this is off. And you're always like it's off and there is something off.
But we
And
don't know
it's
why.
just the vibe. No, a lot of times you do and you're like I think it's this or I think it's that and you just have a way of like checking the vibes. And for me I'm because I'm story structure, I'm like did I hit all my marks and did I do all that? But you guys are just like but something's off like emotionally or like something's not working.
But both are
And that's a
so
vibe.
important.
They're so
like
important.
the more writing
Yeah.
from a character place, like I think helped me figure out the types of books I like to write. But now that I'm in there, I'm learning how important like understanding the premise and story structure is. So I'm like,
Yeah.
they're both important all the time.
And would you agree that like in your second book you trusted yourself a little bit more to kind of let loose on what you thought you should write versus what you wanted to write? Yeah.
And did both of your second books, mine did, well, yes. Did both of your second books occur? Yeah, both of them did after you'd been at workshop.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay,
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So I also think
Yep.
like learning, and this is just, I mean, okay, I do not believe that you write to trends, but I
Mhm.
think understanding that like selling a book, positioning a book is really hard. So I think also where I had all of these ideas with the first book, a second book, I was like, oh, how does this book get sold? How is this book different than
Mhm.
every other fantasy book on the
Mhm.
market? Okay, you're writing a rom. How is it? Okay, great.
Yeah.
How is
Yeah.
it different? How is it
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah.
And I think that I would have never known that had I not been surrounded by other people.
Yeah.
So I think with that security, you write that next book and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of things that are just really practical things that you don't know. Like why would we know? None of us have ever been around writers before this.
Mhm.
So I think that
Well, just simple things like Lauren Danhoff always says, read as much as you're writing.
Yeah.
And that's it seems like such a simple, like no-brainer thing to do. But when you get stuck in the writing, you do kind of forget, like, no, I still need to be reading. And to your point of like, when you're reading, you're seeing what's current, what's being published, what people are interested in. And then when you read, your creative brain goes, what if I did something like this, but what if I did this way? Or I've seen this before, like what if I do it that way? And then you naturally just like find what's trending but then find your own twist on it and like how to make it
Yeah.
your own so
And
yeah.
that speaks to something about you, I think every writer would be helped by doing more of, which is just like being open and adaptable. Like you do understand story and structure so well, but you've always been like open to people's ideas and open to like, okay, well maybe I could do this and could do that.
Mhm.
Like you gotta do that
You
to get
do,
better.
yeah.
you can't be unmovable.
Yeah.
Like you cannot.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you guys, if you're watching the video, there's nothing that we hate more than when people come to workshop and you give
Oh.
them critique and
Oh.
they do this
Cross the arms.
Yeah.
and sit back and watch you tell them what's wrong with their book. And as far as as I would say for as many years as I've been going, I've never seen somebody give advice to just be mean. Right?
Yeah.
But when you see that, you want to like hit below, you want to like crotch shot them because you're like,
Yeah.
because it's always
You're not special.
it's
Yeah.
always a dude, by the way. But
Well, it's funny because, like, when I first started going to critique, my husband would remind me, like, on the weeks I was nervous, and I'd be calling him, and I'd be like, I want to go, but I'm still nervous. And he was like, just remember, it's called critique for a reason. You're
Yeah.
going there for somebody to read your work and tell you what's wrong, not just praise. And I think some people are like, well, I'm going to be the exemption that shows up and just gets praised. And when that doesn't happen, they're not prepared. And so there's like a lot of mindset work that you just have to do, just like working out. Like half the battle is showing up and being in the right mindset to be like, I came here for this. Like that's why I'm here. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I really think about like I always try to be really grateful because I'm like, one, these are people who are giving their time. It's a lot of authors that know more than me. And they're like giving me their time and their attention and they're truly trying to help me make it better. And like you said, no one's really they're not doing it to be spiteful. they're doing it because they have been there before and they want to be like, watch out for this, do this differently, do it better. And so when you look at it that way, you're just like, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that all these people are giving me this advice. Because once it's out there, you're either not going to hear from an agent like Christina or for their first book, or readers are going to be like, did anyone tell him? Like, would someone ever tell him that this was wrong? And I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
So it's a hard pill to swallow, but the perseverance is like something you just have to be you have to learn, like you have to be okay with it. Yeah.
As we've experienced at this writer's retreat. I
As we
mean,
have,
last night we
yeah.
talked about your chapter for like an hour, and that was
Yeah.
just ideas. Like same thing at lunch today.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Other things you've always been good at, and we want to know why. What's going on? I hate how much we keep name dropping him. This is not a commercial for Ailey Martinez.
Yeah, we're not
Alex.
partnered with Alex Martinez, by the way.
Yeah, he's just some guy.
He's gonna say I yelled with him again.
But he did say about you, which is a high compliment, that you are the only person he's met who he thinks doesn't need to trim their writing. Because Alex is big on cut that, make it shorter. And you
Yeah.
are the only person he said, I think you should add some stuff. So how do you think you achieve not writing too much or adding unnecessary fluff?
That is such a funny compliment because Alex was actually in my room for my very first read, and I was the complete opposite. I told you what color the trees were, how many leaves were on them, what season it was, like everything, and you had nowhere to focus. But Alex gave me advice, and other writers said, this chapter has no focus. I don't know where to look. I know too much that I don't know who's the main person. And so I think like I've corrected the other way. But I read something about like cut everything, and like when people start asking for more, then you know to put more in it. But one thing that I did was I studied scripts, because scripts do a really good job of taking a lot of information and putting in one word visually what needs to show up on the screen. And so now with my chapters, I will script them out. I'll do like, here's my dialogue, here's like the emotional beats, here's the stuff, and then I'll flush it out afterwards. And then if people are saying I need to add more, like they are kind of right now, but then I'll be like, okay, now I'll add more. But scripts, yeah, they're really
That's a good tip. I hadn't
yeah.
heard of that
I
one.
always think of movies too. Like when I think
Yeah.
of people who especially people who overwrite too, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what would get cut out of the movie?
Yeah.
And then also like, why?
yeah.
And not all things get cut out of the movie because they're boring or because they're this or that. But
Yeah.
it's like if it wasn't necessary in the
Mhm.
first place to make things make sense,
Mhm.
if it's not pushing you forward,
Yep.
maybe it's not
Yeah.
necessary.
And I love movie adaptations of books for that reason.
Yeah.
To be like, how did they take this book and then translate it? And what did they cut? Like
Yeah.
to that point, what did they cut to tell the story but still get it across?
And was it successful? Did
Yeah.
did something
they
now,
do it,
does
or was
something now
something
feel like it's
missing?
missing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And sometimes it does.
Yep. Yeah. But that's so funny because I was the opposite for the longest
Well,
time. It was the
proof
lesson I
of
had to
how
learn.
you learn quickly, and you are very movable. You're
Yeah.
like, too much? All right.
Yep.
Cut
Cut.
it. No problem.
Cut it.
She
All you
takes
get
it
is
and
dialogue.
she takes it, she does it.
Becca did tell me one of the, like, when we were first getting to know each other and becoming friends, I don't know what it was about, if it was like writing or working out or something, but you said, you'll get to know this about me, that when I like want to do something, like I kind of become obsessed.
So true.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well that's good, because like I want to be obsessed
Yeah.
with writing too, so like that'll be a good accountability.
But then like a
partner.
year later, you're like, okay.
And then
she's a
it
little
sent
bit
into
too
other
obsessed.
things, and I was like, well, let's work out together. And then I was like, you're too dedicated, Becca.
I mean, she's running circles around you.
Yeah.
I'm not on your level.
It's so funny because my mom, she's like, you've been that way since you were a kid. She's like, I've never had to worry about you because if you want to do something, you just do it. And so she's like, you'll tell me, and I'm like, yeah, you will do that. And I'm like, thanks, Mom.
I think that's a rare and good trait.
It is. It is indeed.
Only a little mad.
Okay. So we have final question, and then we're gonna get into the rapid fire.
I love it.
What advice do you have for new romance writers?
Ooh. So I think my first one is general for any writer, but find a community, find a reading critique group, find somebody that you trust that's not just gonna like fluff you up and say, this is so good, it's so good. Find somebody who's gonna be a good friend and be like, this isn't working. But like who like is passionate and also wants to learn with you. I think that's so important. And then for romance specific, I would say read romance, make sure that you understand what's being published, what everything is, but don't just read romance, read other genres because you can learn a lot from every writer. And I think romance is in most story, so you can learn a lot from like any story. So yeah, read and find a critique group. That would be my advice. Yep. Yep. I know, groundbreaking.
No,
Groundbreaking.
well, but here's the thing. People don't do it.
Yeah, it's true.
And people need to be reminded.
That's true.
Why do you think the same health advice has been going out for years and years and years? It's because
easier said than done.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Because finding the time to read instead of doom scroll.
Yeah.
Finding putting in the legwork to find a group of people to write, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It requires maybe a little bit of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But if you
Or
want
a little obsession, and that's okay. We're okay with a little
just
obsession.
just a little bit of obsession.
It's us, obsessed with writing.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like that was perfectly.
Hi, we're the problem. It's us.
Okay.
Into the first rapid fire
Oh, okay.
question.
Okay, rapid fire. We're not just like one word. We can have a tiny explanation, but quick.
Okay.
We're gonna try.
Okay.
So we'll start. You boom boom.
Okay.
First one. Favorite rom-com.
The Queen and the OG Nora Ephron's You've Got Mail. 100%. 100%.
Why?
Because it's classic. I watch it every year. I rewatch it every year, sometimes more than once a year, sometimes more than a weekend. But like every single time I watch it, it's just on point. I love something different about it. The characters, the humor, the heart, the storytelling. It's just like, I don't know, it's just the best. And it just makes me happy and it makes me sad and all the things. She's the
Makes
best.
me feel every emotion.
Yeah, it really does. Every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little off kilter and say I really love She's the Man.
It's a good one.
You know,
It's a good one.
it's
stellar movie.
We
as
love,
we're
we love me
discussing,
some Amanda Bynes.
it's
Like,
what you
yeah.
rock.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It is funny. Yeah.
And also, like, talk about a like star-crossed thing that doesn't seem like it could happen. I'm like, this guy thinks you're his male roommate, and by the end, y'all become lovers. What a hill to climb.
Question. Do you think you liked that? Because it's kind of like Mulan a little.
I never
Did you
thought
love
of
Mulan? Like
that.
the Disney princess
Right?
Mulan?
Oh, yeah, it's based on.
Yeah, but do you think like that
Mulan
Disney
also?
thing kind of carried over for you and there was like any nostalgia related
In
to that?
Mulan, it freaked me out more. Like, I
Oh,
didn't believe it
interesting.
as much
Okay.
as with She's the Man. Yeah, I was always kind of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When She's the Man, I'm like, well, but of course. Like, I don't know. They just did it well.
Yeah. They did do
No,
it well. Yeah.
What is
I was an Amanda Bynes fan too.
Oh,
Yeah.
so funny.
Yep.
We'll get her.
Where's the one where she becomes a princess in the end? Like What a Girl Wants?
What a Girl
Oh,
Wants.
I
Colin
loved
Firth.
that movie. I loved
Right?
that.
Isn't her dad Colin Firth?
Yes, but I loved that movie. So good.
Same.
Yeah. It's a good one.
My answer is the only answer, which is also Becca's answer.
Yeah.
You've Got Mail is a
Yeah.
perfect and flawless film.
Yep.
It is recitable and quotable to no end.
Yep. Kathleen Kelly.
It's it's so good. And if you're not thank youing yourself around the world, like it's just
There's just
it-
so many. Yeah.
it's the perfect setup. It's just perfect. I love it so
Bouquets
much.
of sharpened pencils.
Bouquets of and that's just it. There's also this literary gorgeousness in the beginning when
Yes.
they're talking about
She
the
just
powder
gets it.
flower in the air
Yeah.
that seems to like not
Yes.
settle.
Yes.
And the way that they're like literally writing these like poems to each other, these love letters to each
Yeah.
other.
Yep.
It's so
I also realized I love any movie that has like the old school dial up because there's something just like nostalgic and like fun about that. So anytime I see a movie where they're like dialing up and that's how the movie starts, like there's just so much good
well,
about
there's just
it.
a style to it too
Yeah.
that like as far like the clothes and
And
the
the
and the
side
music.
characters, Birdie and
The
like
side characters too
Yeah.
are so many like unknowns at that time who are
Yes.
huge actors now. And I think
Yes.
that like when you also have Dave Chappelle
I
willing to
know.
be a
Yeah.
side character, you're like, oh wait, no, this is
Yep.
this because it is so, but it's so heartfelt, and it is. You get this story about her mom. You see how he was kind of abandoned, and it's like, but none of it ever gets dark.
Yeah.
But it gets you in this like
feels.
this, and I think
It
that was
feels.
the place where I was like, oh, romance movies don't have to just be silly. Like this,
So
I love it.
you
Rom-coms
saw
could be sad.
you
Rom-
saw
sad
You've
girl
Got
rom-coms.
Mail for the first time 2 years ago, right? And
On our
honest
retreat
take.
last year.
Honest take.
I did really like it, but
Okay, don't be so honest.
I like When Harry Met Sally more.
That's fair.
And
It's
it
still
could
Nora Ephron,
just
we're
be a
fine with that.
recency thing because I watched that first.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is because I've rewatched When Harry Met Sally since then. I'm like, no, it's still so good. That is probably my other, like, my serious answer favorite rom-com,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to do the same universe.
It's okay.
You were
We
breaking out.
accept. We accept.
We
Yeah.
accept.
It's
We
Nora
listen and
Ephron.
we don't
accept.
judge.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do.
Have you met? I was like,
Not in
have
the
you
world.
met us? We sure do.
We judge everyone. Okay. Favorite romance trope.
Favorite romance trope. This one's a little bit hard. I know it's supposed to be fast. Forced proximity. Forced proximity. I want to see how you smartly do that. And then I know it's not a trope, but meet cutes are my favorite thing in the world. Like, how do you come up with just these fun ways for characters to meet? But yeah, forced proximity. Every time I'm like, ooh, that was clever. And I like it.
Okay, wait, I'm not going to get too off track, but you just reminded me of this like story thing you do. Is the meet cute usually how you start your rom-com ideas? Is like how they meet?
Oh,
Because I'm kind of thinking about it, and I'm
Not
like, that
really.
tends to be,
it does
With
kind of
people-
start that way.
or
a
like one
little
of
bit.
your first things
I think
you
this
think about.
Was
Kind of.
But
The
kind
first
of.
one was, yeah.
I think so. I'm like, meet
You're
cute. I think
right.
is one of the
You're
first
right.
things you
I
do
do
think
think
about.
meet cute kind of generates.
So maybe some
Yeah.
of the rom-com writers out there, maybe you could start with how the
Yeah.
meet cute.
What
if
is the
you're
meet
stuck.
cute? Yeah.
well, I mean,
that's a
you
good
figure
point.
if you in any writing, if you're like going back to how things started, or if that's how it
Yeah.
starts, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You're giving me an epiphany right now about my book. That's not even a rom-com. I'm gonna go back to the
Every
non-meet cute.
every
trend.
book deserves a good meet cute. So you go for it, girl. And every
That's a
book
good
should have a
one.
little
Okay,
romance
so you
in
like
it.
forced proximity.
Forced
One bed
proximity.
at the end, kind of.
Yeah. Yep.
Love it.
Why do they have to be together? But then why do they want to be together? Like, I love it.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much Perry. Mine is Slow Burn. I blame
Yeah,
Gilbert
the
Blythe
yearning.
and Anne Shirley. If you could
You
give
want
me
the yearning. You want the yearn.
yearning.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more books between you finally getting together, the better. Honestly,
Uh.
I have DNF books in the past where like the characters like
Too fast.
kiss too soon or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't
Yeah.
make me work for
Unless
it
there's
enough.
going to be a love triangle and we know it's not going to last.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Mine is enemies to lovers, and I
That
blame
tracks.
Kathleen Kelly and
Yeah.
Joe Fox. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
It's their fault. I
Yep.
just love, especially when there's like a real reason to dislike a person. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
There's so much fire in
We know.
enemies to lovers.
We
There's so
know.
much fire and
We
spice.
know.
Yeah. It's a good one. You're not
Oh,
wrong.
but-
There's a lot of good ones out there.
This next question. Do you know what it is? Do you want me to read it? Okay. Final question. What's the least romantic food you could order on a date?
Okay, this might be an unpopular choice, but I don't think there's a wrong thing you can do. And I'll defend.
Yes, please.
I think I like in books, like case in point, Along Came Polly, right? Ben Stiller. She takes him to get Indian and he's like sweating his butt off and like he's struggling and he has irritable bowel syndrome, but it's still romance because it's real life. So I truly think like if it's done right, there's no wrong food. Like you can make it funny, you can make it relatable, you can find authenticity and like connection and
On
bonding
a
over
real
it.
date? How'd you feel about that?
Real date,
Yeah.
still same. Because I think books should emulate a little
know,
real life.
You know what's
Sorry.
what movie proves your point about that?
What?
Is White Chicks. When she's trying to get him not to kiss her, she's like, let me order the steaks smothered in onions and garlic. And then he's like, I love a woman who can eat it.
See?
You're like,
The right, if it's done the right way, there's no wrong food. I'm sorry. But, I mean, go ahead.
Answer
He's like, but make your case, even though you're wrong.
Answer your stupid question.
Okay, I'll have a follow-up question when you guys say your stuff. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I gotta say ribs because man, oh man, it's so you gotta gnaw off the
Now, these are
bone.
first dates,
It's
right?
greasy
First dates?
and Yeah,
just any
I
date.
even still just the idea of eating ribs. Ribs.
Oh, ribs in front of everyone.
I don't want to do it. So greasy and lip smacking and finger licking. Too much.
But then what happens too, and as somebody who hasn't had ribs in 18 years, but like it gets everywhere, and then it gets on your shirt, gets in your hair somehow.
Oh yeah, you smell like ribs.
Smell. I say ramen, like slurping.
Oh,
And
I
then,
think
like-
ramen's romantic.
and then
Lady in the
stuff like-
Tramp. Lady in the Tramp.
Meatball, but there's no broth and spaghetti
Yeah.
to like splash it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like that.
Slurp.
Have-
no thanks.
Girl, I can name you 5 romances where ramen was in it and it was sexy as hell.
Wow.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry,
is
but I
a
have a
thing.
hot opinion about this. I guess I didn't
This-
realize,
listen,
Yeah. Ramen is sexy as hell.
and I'm sure ribs are in some place. I don't know. I don't have any recommendations for you.
For a
But
southern romance. I can totally see that in a southern romance where like she orders ribs and he's like, now that's my kind of woman.
yeah, and she's like, "Oh, and by the way, I also made the hot sauce," and he'll be like, "Oh,
Hey, what was your follow-up question?
oh, I was gonna ask. I don't know if it works because this is like first date, but I was like, but you've eaten ramen and you've eaten ribs in front of your husband, right?"
I don't know that I have eaten ribs in front of him.
I mean, sure. I also am at this point. I'm like, you're stuck with me.
yeah. Oh, you would eat anything. We already know on your first date.
Yeah.
What a way to bring this to a close.
Wow, we think we've covered a lot of important ground today. From there's no unromantic foods
Nope.
Oh my god.
to you've got mail is apparently the only right answer for your favorite rom-com.
It is truly. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Where can the people keep up with you and what's going on in your writer life?
I'm on the Instas. I'm on the TikTok. Both of them. My name is Rebecca _Seifert. And then what else? What do you want to? What else?
Just where are those the best places for people
Yeah.
to keep up with the news
Yeah.
that's happening?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And also on the Witches of Workshop podcast.
That's
So-
right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We're still doing it. You guys
Yep.
are still
Doing
stuck with
it.
us. So
And this writer retreat's got to continue. So we've got to go eat some more snacks.
Well, you're gonna like
and
move here
critique some more
to Maine, I think.
I've been talking about
She's already
it.
been shopping the Planet
I've been
Fitness she
over
wants to
the
go to and everything. She's like, look at this Planet
I'll
Fitness.
work out there. Let's go take all you with me. No worries.
Here's my Trader
I love this
Joe's.
for
Here's
us.
my Walgreens. Like, let's
Okay.
go. It's all great. Yep.
And now-
Yep. We
I
got
mean,
it.
that's the natural evolution of a vacation is
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
up
I'll
Zillow
run
properties.
Yeah.
I'm calling my
Geese
realtor.
included? Geese included?
The
Yeah.
geese- well, the geese didn't honk once for our podcast.
Yeah, I
It's because
mean,
they're so attentive. They're like, wow, finally something we can be entertained with.
Are they silent or were they silenced by what we
Oh.
had to say? They were like,
They were
Hang
like,
on.
they're like, Sharon, I told you need a writing group. You should listen to me.
the Gosling wives
Yeah.
are like, we need a hobby.
This is why we're not published.
Writing. Okay, I think we're writing Goose fan fiction now.
well, stay
Uh,
tuned.
Stay tuned.
Thank you so much for listening to Witches of Workshop. Be sure to find us every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, if you want to be featured on Witches of Workshop, please send 1 to 10 pages and a synopsis to witchesofworkshop@gmail.com.
Until then,
Happy writing.